Welcome everyone to the What Happens When channel, where everyday questions are answered. Before we get into it, why don't you hit the subscribe, like, and smash the notification bell? Okay, let's do this. As we gaze upon our bustling cities and sprawling infrastructure, have you ever wondered what would happen if humanity suddenly vanished from Earth? Today, we are diving into a fascinating scientific exploration of how our planet would transform in a world without humans, backed by rigorous research and environmental data. The immediate aftermath of human disappearance would be striking. Within mere hours, power plants worldwide would begin shutting down, creating a cascade of electrical failures across the globe. Emergency generators would maintain critical systems for a few days. But soon, our cities would fall into darkness. This sudden absence of artificial light would immediately impact nocturnal wildlife behavior, with animals beginning to reclaim urban spaces they've long avoided. Within the first week, subway tunnels and underground infrastructure would start flooding as pumps cease operation. The constant mechanical hum of civilization would fade, replaced by the sounds of nature. Urban wildlife, from rats and pigeons to coyotes and deer, would venture deeper into city centers, no longer deterred by human activity. Our absence would trigger a remarkable chain of ecological events that scientists have carefully modeled through extensive research. The first year would witness dramatic changes in urban environments. Without human maintenance, plants would begin breaking through concrete and asphalt. Seeds carried by wind and birds would take root in unlikely places, from abandoned parking lots to skyscraper rooftops. The air would become noticeably cleaner as industrial emissions cease, though the complex chemistry of our atmosphere would take decades to rebalance. Moving forward to the 10-year mark, we'd see substantial structural changes in our cities. Most wooden houses would have succumbed to weather and decay, while steel and concrete structures would stand longer but show significant deterioration. Climate-controlled buildings would have lost their battle against nature, with moisture and temperature fluctuations causing widespread damage. Wildlife populations would boom in these urban areas, creating new ecosystems in the ruins of human civilization. Perhaps most intriguing are the long-term environmental implications. Scientific models suggest that within a century, forests would reclaim vast areas of former agricultural land. This natural reforestation would sequester significant amounts of atmospheric carbon dioxide, potentially reversing some effects of anthropogenic climate change. Studies indicate that approximately 30% of Earth's surface would experience substantial ecosystem shifts. The absence of human activity would trigger fascinating ecological cascades. Species that have adapted to human presence would face initial challenges. For instance, urban-dwelling pigeons and rats would see population crashes as their primary food sources disappear. Conversely, many endangered species would find new opportunities to thrive. Research suggests that within 200 years, biodiversity levels in many regions could return to pre-industrial revolution levels. One of the most significant transformations would occur in our oceans. Marine ecosystems, currently stressed by overfishing and pollution, would begin a remarkable recovery. Scientific data indicates that fish populations could rebound to pre-industrial levels within several decades. Coral reefs freed from the pressures of ocean acidification and temperature changes would slowly regenerate, though this process would take centuries. The planet's chemical systems would undergo profound changes. Without continued industrial emissions, atmospheric composition would gradually shift. However, the legacy of human activity would persist in surprising ways. Plastic pollution would remain a lasting reminder of our presence, with some materials taking thousands of years to decompose. Nuclear power plants would leave their mark through contamination, creating zones that would remain hazardous for millennia. Agricultural lands would transform dramatically. Domestic crops, bred for human consumption and dependent on our care, would largely die out or revert to more primitive forms. Scientific studies suggest that within a few generations, hardy variants would emerge, creating new hybrid species as domestic and wild plants cross-pollinate. The carefully maintained monocultures of our farming regions would give way to diverse, resilient ecosystems. The question of whether Earth's recovery could outpace human-induced decline is complex. Environmental scientists have identified numerous tipping points in global ecosystems, some of which we may have already crossed. Yet the planet's remarkable resilience, demonstrated throughout its geological history, suggests that given enough time, new equilibriums would establish themselves. This scientific thought experiment reveals something profound about our relationship with Earth. The planet's systems are incredibly robust, capable of recovering from even significant disruptions. However, the timescales involved in this recovery remind us of the lasting impact of human activity on our environment. As we consider these evidence-based projections, we're faced with important questions about our role as planetary stewards. The data shows that while Earth would ultimately recover from human influence, the path to that recovery would be long and complex. This understanding challenges us to consider how we might better align our civilization with natural systems while we're still here. What are your thoughts on this fascinating scenario? How do you think Earth's recovery would unfold in your local area? Share your perspectives in the comments below. And let's discuss the implications of this scientific exploration. Your insights could add valuable dimensions to our understanding of humanity's environmental impact and the resilience of Earth's ecosystems. Remember to subscribe for more evidence-based investigations into compelling scientific scenarios like this one. Together, we can better understand our place in Earth's complex systems and the responsibility that comes with it. Thanks for watching.